you check the children. Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is what
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Go ahead and click away if you don't want to be spoiled. I know some people like to hear these things, but we can't talk about this movie without at least mentioning these. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, spoilers incoming. So basically one of the things early on is something that's revealed is at one point Jesse Plemons is having a really, close face-off with Emma Stone because she's a very strong-willed character. And she, at first kind of like tells him what he wants to hear. That, okay, well, at first says, no, I'm not an alien. Then eventually thinks she can escape by saying, okay, yes, I am an alien.
Yes, I'm an
and it goes back and forth a bit. And eventually they have like a real close face-to-face. And Plemons throws out this line at the end of their exchange where he's like, hey, just like all the rest of them. And he walks away and we move on to something else really quickly. And it hit my ear. I was like, the what now? And like the movie just moves along, and eventually what happens is, one of the setups that you need to know is he has done all this research. He's a deep conspiracy theorist, and he believes that she's an Andromedan alien, like this the race of Andromedans, and that they're basically there to try and I don't even know. He's got his theories. I'll
control humanity, slowly like bring them to the brink of extinction, which is why a lot of the stuff that this organization, this big corporate company, this medical company that Emma Stone heads up, he believes that a lot of their manufacturing is destroying the bees because the bee kind of factor is big time. They even addressed us about bees before the film started, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, they were telling us all about beekeeping and everything. They had two beekeepers up front,
workers, and the queen and everything. So,
but so
obviously Emma Stone being the queen of the company, all that stuff. So
so basically that was the first indication that something was weird, and eventually she gets free. And while Plemons, she tells him something. She basically convinces him to go and try something, which doesn't go well for him. I don't want to spoil everything for you guys, so I'll leave that alone. But while Jesse Plemons is away, she tries to find a way out, and when she does, she finds a hidden room, and the hidden room basically has a bunch of cut up bodies. And essentially, he has done this before. That's why he said you're just like all the rest. But these are previous people that they've captured, and he has chopped up, like their heads in tanks, limbs in jars, and all this stuff. And
full on horror movie. So it did eventually get there, right?
It did. And so basically, what happens is once Plemons gets back to the house, she's waiting for him there, and she's like, how many Andromedans were there? And he's just like, what? And she's like, how many? And like, so she's like serious about it. He's like, 2. And so she's like, she gets angry, and like she starts to tell him this history of how her race came to the earth, years ago, like eons ago, when dinosaurs ruled the earth. And then humans were created, and eventually they blew themselves up, and they had to kind of start again, and now they were monitoring the humans. And
which there are beliefs about the fact that we are on like different like iterations of full-blown society at this point.
And she drops the fact that at one point they had to kill everyone on the planet except for a few people that survived on an ark for a number of years. And like they just dropped this Bible thing. I was like, oh shit, that's so cool.
And this was where I really wondered more so than anything, because of the fact that it didn't seem like earlier in the captivity where she was just bullshitting. This was where I was like, this is way more than she could just be rolling off the cuff with.
Well, yeah, because she's a lot more serious in her presentation and everything.
And so detailed. And
so she convinces him that she's like, okay, yes, we are in fact going to contact the Emperor on the lunar eclipse. So he captures her like 5 days before the lunar eclipse, he basically wants her to take him to speak to the Emperor to negotiate the survival of the human race. And she just calls him crazy essentially, but But yeah, so she tells him all this stuff, and she says, okay, you can come with me and you can talk to the Emperor. And she convinces him to go back to her business, her office. And when they're there, she pulls out this calculator and says, okay, I have to contact them, and it's this 58-digit code that I have to try and remember. And so, like, now all of a sudden you're back to, like, wait, is she just bullshitting? And now she's in a different location where she can get some help from her coworkers, because her coworkers are buzzing right outside her office, even though they close the windows. Someone's running for help, so you're like, oh shit, she's just biding time again. And she's like, okay, so here's the deal. The travel, and he's just like, the what? She's like, to teleport. You can teleport her. She's like, there's a teleporter in this closet over here. So you step in there, and I'll count to 3, and I'll hit enter, and you'll go. And he's just like, what? And she's just like, he hesitates, and she's like, okay, fine, I'll go. And he's like, no, I'll go. He's like, I don't want you to go and escape. This is
also where he reveals.
Oh yeah, he reveals that he's
prepared.
Put a whole homemade bomb on himself. He's like, just in case things don't go right, I have a contingency plan, during my negotiations. And she's like, oh, okay, I understand. And so she gets him into the closet, and she, as he closes the door, she starts to step towards the door's entrance, right? And she's like, 3, 2, and she's almost to the entrance. And then she goes, okay, I'm hitting it. And she hits enter, and just then his vest blows up, and the closet explodes, and his head comes flying out of the closet, hits her in the face, and like goes rolling. And like basically the cops show up, and they've got her recovering on a stretcher kind of thing. And they're like, yeah, it's these homemade bombs are, they can be triggered by body heat and stuff. So you're like, oh damn. And she's like, oh, okay, and they're taking her away in an ambulance, and she's like, I don't know if she asked what time it is or whatever, but
she was like, if there isn't anything else or something to that effect.
And then she just like gets up and unplugs herself and like just exits the moving ambulance and like limps her way all the way back to the office, goes all the way back to her office, and like walks through broken glass and everything.
And this is when you and me started cheering. We were like,
we were like, please, please, please. And she opens the closet, and it's full of his gore still, like full of his entrails and body parts. And she closes it, and then like you just hear this electronic noise, and you see the light, and then it like cuts to black, and I'm like, oh, please don't go to credits, please don't go to credits. And then it cuts, and she emerges from this green slime on the mothership, which, by the way, we then get so this is the CG shot I was talking about. It's the outside shot in space of the mothership, which Plemons has made a model of that we see earlier, but it's just a much more extravagant version of it, and colorful and like see-through, translucent and everything, which is funny if you think about it, right? Because her house and her office had windows with the illusion of transparency, and their ship has the same illusion of transparency going on. So that subtext is dope as fuck. But yeah, she emerges, and the funny thing is, like, you see that like her entire race is there. They all have super long hair, because Plemons literally shaves off her hair, saying her hair is how they communicate. And like, so they're like, we tried to communicate with you. She's like, yeah, my hair was gone. And so, but the funny thing is, they're all wearing these oversized crochet outfits. Like, it's like, just look like giant crocheted outfits.
It was like something out of a Twilight Zone episode.
It was crazy. Crazy, dude. And the funny thing is, there are interstitials, right? Every time it goes like 5 days till the lunar eclipse, 4 days till the lunar eclipse. It starts with a globe. Right? Or you see the world, and it's like 5 days, and then 4 days, and every time the globe starts to rotate, and then by the end you see that it's a flat Earth
when
with
it
the
says
ice wall.
Day of the lunar eclipse. That's when they showed it as being flat.
Showed it. Well, no, I could tell a couple times before, because you could see the ice wall. Yeah, it was rotating to be flat, and so when they're on the ship, they're like, what, you've been down there, what is your decision? And she's basically like, we need to we need to start again. We need to end their life. Yeah. And so they gather around this flat Earth model. It's not a model, though. It's actually, we're led to believe that it's actually the flat Earth, and it's got a dome It's got the dome.
or
the
like
conspiracy
almost like a
theorists-
bubble around it.
Well, that's
being
the conspiracy
atmosphere,
theory. They
obviously.
say that it's an ice wall and there's a dome, and that's why it's in space.
I don't know anything about that.
That's what I'm
but-
saying. This was all like, what if conspiracy theorists are right? And so basically, she's like, okay, now's the time. We have to end them all. And basically, the whole race is around this model and the dome, and she just holds up this giant spike, and she just goes, and she pops the dome like a bubble, and all the atmosphere leaves the Earth. And then we get like a good 5 minutes of shots of different parts of the planet just with dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah.
The animals aren't dead, which is a weird thing because if they
I
eliminated,
they
eliminated the atmosphere, all the animals would be dead too. But you know, whatever, I'll forgive it because it was just so cool to see. But all humans on
there
Earth
was
were
deliberate
killed.
intent behind that. You know, maybe it wasn't necessarily just atmosphere. Maybe it was like they had something in the entire race of humans, and so they're just going to reset them because the bees were still going at the end too. So I don't know, but
there's very few movies. There's very few surprises I like more in movies than surprise apocalypses. Cabin in the Woods, surprise apocalypse. Now this one, surprise apocalypse. I fucking love these movies that just go for it at the end. The thing I told Fuego before the movie, I was like, she better be revealed to be an alien or I'm not going to be happy. And not only was she revealed to be an alien, but it went so much further than that ended in the death of all of humanity. It was fucking awesome. And that's why it is it's got to be my number one of the year right now, dude. Even talking about it right now, it just pushes it higher.
Man.
It's so entertaining and so amazing.
Funny, I mean, thought-provoking, I mean, just top to bottom. I mean, I think it is my favorite Yorgos at this point. So, yeah, man.
Who could have anticipated it would go that far? It's so amazing. All right. That's enough gushing. I couldn't help it, though. I had to talk about that
setting the table for the burdens of expectation for everybody, because now they're going to go in expecting the world. Or, I mean...
If they watched all the way through the spoilers, you know, then, they'll be a little disappointed. If they didn't, then they'll have the same reaction that we had. So
there's some people who love watching spoiler stuff, and like
that's why I wanted to do it. There's going to be enough people that will watch it and be like, holy shit, I had no idea. I'm definitely going now. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for our review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. We greatly appreciate it. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
And gracias, Jaime Fuego.
Stay tuned because Fuego has a review of both Dream Eater and Queens of the Dead coming in the coming days this week. So come back to see those. But until next time, guys, remember, stay scared.
Stay scared.